It all began with the dream of a team holding in hand a disruptive 10-year strategic plan intended to rekindle growth in the Caribbean economy. A strategy to refashion an excellent academy, the University of the West Indies, now 7 decades deep in service to its community, with an objective to lead it beyond its historic legacy, to grasp its long-desired destiny. The UWI, a strategy group, 5 campus principals, pro-vice chancellors, registrars and finance officers, student organizers, ardent administrators and managers, and a vice chancellor. Backed by 17 Caribbean governments, supported by tested global partners, over a dozen distinguished universities, and a network of determined development donors. The plan, bold and courageous, was to take it to a place it had never before inhabited, to the top, there to dwell among the best, the world's best. For 5 arduous years, it was prepared to take international ranking tests. It did emerge at the top with the very best. First in the Caribbean, from a field of over 100 distinguished universities and top 4% of the global best. The journey to the top took 1,000 steps, each a calculated choice, options for opportunities, rising on the shoulders of veterans and stalwarts, hundreds of men and women who fought heroically through the colonial phase to arrive at this stage. Revitalized with a one UB vision, the UWI was launched upon its next voyage, leaving behind, with solemn celebration, the ancestral university of the prior century. Upward and onward, the new UWI was forged and refashioned as a university system, a system with multiple sectors, local and global. A 21st century university system redesigned to meet the region's future needs, guided by its AAA strategic plan with pillars of access, alignment and agility, a vehicle for the voyage along the higher education highways of the future. First came the restructuring and refocusing of the open campus, and finally a 5th campus led by Principal Griffith, experience in action, erupting in the 5 islands community of Antigua and Barbuda and bearing its name. But in between, 8 new global university centers planned in partnership with the best universities. With the State University of New York, a joint center for leadership and sustainable development. In China, with the Global Institute for Software Technology, a joint center to train Caribbean software engineers in the sizzling technology park of Suzhou. In Africa, with the University of Lagos, Nigeria, a center for culture and arts. And in South Africa, with the University of Johannesburg, a joint center for global African studies. In Canada, with Brock University, a center for Canada-Caribbean studies. In Cuba, with the University of Havana, an institute for sustainable development of the Caribbean peoples. In England, with Coventry University, a joint center for industry academic partnerships. In Scotland, the UWI, University of Glasgow Centre for Research and Reparatory Justice, making history, the first university to apologize for enrichment from slavery and agreeing to pay reparations. And in the making, 2 new centers, one in the European Union to foster Caribbean post-Brexit interests, the other in South America, in Colombia, a joint teaching and research project at the University of the Andes. Finally, UWA rose as a founding partner in the 10-member University of Miami-based Hemispheric University Consortium, an online strategy to revolutionize research collaboration across the hemisphere. The UWI system then is a re-engineered global enterprise rooted in the Caribbean with a Caribbean mandate. While forging a bright future, it is sweeping away the dark colonial past. First, It institutionalized a gender policy, empowering and celebrating women within the system. Then Milner Hall, symbol of a celebrated imperial apartheid era, now erased and renamed by resident students. Freedom Hall, a lesson in liberation. Repatriated to regional justice, the role and function of the Queen of England as our visitor. Finally, a Center for Reparations Research and the P.J. Patterson Center for Africa Caribbean Advocacy, established to promote and guide the completion of the decolonization process. The UWI system, a new academic enterprise, transformed to better serve and sustain the transformation of the Caribbean region. The journey to the top was principally driven by programs with specific pedagogical purposes to protect and propel the people of the region. See, for example, the excellence of UWI medicine and UWI science active in the field, side by side with governments, fighting the war against viral pandemics. First with the Zika task force in 2016, now with the COVID-19 task force, both led by the persistent, dependable Professor Clive Landis. COVID, chronic disease, and climate change, the three deadly C's of Caribbean society, confronted, contested by UWI science. The UWI science sector, selected to lead climate change advocacy by the International Association of Universities, with a team of top-class scientists, Michael Taylor, David Smith, and John Agard, now preparing to pioneer the creation in the Caribbean of the world's first climate-smart university. The UWI system, a 21st century alignment-ready academy, now prepared to bond in capital markets with the private sector, aligned with top-class companies, companion travelers, Sagicor, NCB, JMMB, Republic Bank, Flow, Grace Kennedy, and a dozen others, focusing on funding top-class teaching and research. The Mona model, the passionate pursuit of revenue. Principal Weber, weaving magic to keep his city bright and well-watered, capturing capital to bring fruit home to his beloved Mona. Professors of practice, a class of honorary icons of industry brought on board to pave the path, strengthening industry academic relations. The UWI system ready for a new funding frontier beyond the public treasury into the territory of private equity, inviting investment partners to sustain the academy. Heads of governments meeting in Haiti agreed to reconcile all receivables in an assets for cash exchange. Prime Minister Rowley leading the field with the Couva Hospital deal, government and university owning and revenue sharing, calling Principal Copeland to craft UWI's largest ever project, an artery from St. Augustine to Couva to Destiny de Bay. Prime Minister Motley, sincerity on show, honored the Barbados debt, injected cash, reviving Cave Hill, connecting Principal Barito to Bridgetown, there to imagine a smart campus from gown to town. Grenada, granting 88 acres of land, and the Bahamas pledging 20 in Nassau. St. Vincent financing the largest open campus site, launching the mind of Principal Longsworth of the open campus into a new online orbit. But rising and capturing the top, ball beating were the students, creating sporting history on the journey. The combined campuses team, gloriously winning the 2018 Regional Super 50 Cricket Championship, defeating all challenges, claiming the status best cricket team in the West Indies. And there was more to the tour. Two students, Jason Holder and Carlos Brathwaite, carefully nurtured within UWI, rising to the top, taking the captaincy of West Indies teams in Tests and T20 respectively. With the power of example of student success came the plan to create a UWI-wide faculty of sport, the first of its kind in over 40 years, serving the region in the sport arena, an area of proven proficiency. The visual tapestry of these journeys to the top was captured and packaged for the community, regionally and globally, in a vision whose time had come, UWI-TV, a jewel in the crown. UWI-TV, for all to see, a 24/7 education cable channel like no other in the region and beyond, online and on everything, designed and directed by Janet Carew, bolted to the top with familiar Caribbean speed, representing the UWI brand daily before diverse audiences. The UWI system, 5 campuses, 8 global centers, a 21st century journey driven by development, designed for justice, arriving inexorably at the apex. Captured, crystallized in a 2019 BBC Caribbean report in which the world was told that the region, while facing many serious challenges, can look to the future with optimism, knowing that within it resides a top-ranked, high-class, global university. The University of the West Indies system, locally relevant, globally ranked and agile, an activist academy with a charismatic Caribbean personality, regionally rooted like no other.
The University of the West Indies was established at Mona, Jamaica in 1948 by the British. 75 years later, the university celebrates its remarkable history of accomplishments and contributions to the Caribbean region and beyond. Nestled at the foot of the Blue Mountain Range, the university sits on 653 acres of land that used to be the Mona and Papine sugar estates starting in the mid-18th century. After more than 2 centuries, stone aqueducts that were built by slave labor are still present on the Mona campus. These aqueducts carried water from the Hope River to the plantations. The estates were abandoned in the late 19th century after slavery was abolished. During World War II, the British government decided to provide accommodations for about 2,000 refugees from Gibraltar and other European countries. Several wooden buildings were quickly constructed on the Mona estate property at the so-called Gibraltar Camp. The refugees remained at Gibraltar Camp until the end of the war in 1945. In 1944, the visionary Asquith Commission in the United Kingdom recommended the establishment of the University of the West Indies in Jamaica. Sir James Irvine was appointed head of the committee in charge of the development of the university in Kingston, Jamaica. In 1948, the first faculty of the University of the West Indies was established at the Gibraltar Camp buildings. Medicine was chosen as the first faculty because of the dire need for better health care in the Caribbean territory. The first medical class consisted of 33 top-tier students from throughout the Caribbean. In 1949 and 1950, natural science and the arts were added to the curriculum. A few of the wooden buildings from Gibraltar Camp are still present on the Mona campus today. The Dramatic Theatre building, for example, was the recreation hall for the Gibraltar camp residents. The University Chapel was the brainchild of its first chancellor, Princess Alice of Athlone, granddaughter of Queen Victoria. An abandoned warehouse at the Hamden Estate in Trelawney, Jamaica, was carefully demolished and the stone blocks were transported to Mona and used to build the chapel, which was completed in 1959. In 1949, construction of the University Hospital of the West Indies was started to complement the fledgling medical school. The hospital complex was completed in 1953 and was visited that year by Sir Winston Churchill. Since the first medical class graduated in 1954, the medical school at the University of the West Indies has grown significantly and has trained thousands of medical doctors who provide an excellent standard of health care throughout the region and beyond. This includes patient care as well as teaching and research. Over the past 75 years, the curriculum at the University of the West Indies has evolved to include several other disciplines, including law, business, and many others. Today, the university is spread out over 5 campuses in the Caribbean region. The student body has grown from 33 students in 1948 to more than 50,000 today, with an academic staff of 1,200. The University of the West Indies has produced graduates who have excelled in a variety of disciplines, including medicine, law, the arts and sciences, business, politics, and sports. Our alma mater has had a major impact throughout the Caribbean region and globally. It is currently ranked in the top 5% of universities worldwide. The University of the West Indies has certainly lived up to its motto, "A rising light from the West."
Testing, testing. Please stand as we receive Dr. Corinne Sinqui, Director of the University of the West Indies School of Clinical Medicine and Research. As well as our Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Honorable Philip Davis. Let us remain standing as we welcome You may be seated. My apologies. We need to make sure that the vision is clear as we get set to welcome our graduating class. We're now going to welcome the graduating class of 2022 of the UWI School of Clinical Medicine and Research, the Bahamas. Let us all stand for the national anthem of the Bahamas. invite Dr. Angelique Smith with the invocation.
Good evening. Please stand for the opening prayer. Okay, all heads bowed and eyes closed. Our most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering everyone who are present here today to celebrate this momentous occasion. This is the beginning of our journey as new physicians, and we thank you for bringing great success to each graduate here today. Thank you for providing us with the wisdom, patience, knowledge, and understanding that we needed to be successful in our medical school journey. Without you, dear God, we would not be here tonight to celebrate this new beginning with our family, friends, and future colleagues. Father, we thank you for our amazing parents and support systems who have made many selfless sacrifices for us, who have witnessed the many ups and downs and never stopped believing in us, even when we did not believe in ourselves. We also wish to remember those loved ones who could not be here to celebrate with us tonight because they are now smiling down on us from heaven. We thank you for our mentors and lecturers who have taken the time out of their busy schedules to bless us with their knowledge and kind words. We also pray and thank you for our Bahamian government who supported us financially over the years. Father, we pray that as we start this new journey, that we will continue to trust in your word and trust the skills that we have obtained over the past years and aim to be great physicians. Help us to continue to strive for greatness and continue to gain more knowledge and skills, as we know this is not the end of our clinical training. Father, as you were present during our journey, we ask that your presence be here with us tonight as we celebrate the graduates this evening. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. You may be seated. We're sure this time. The Right Honorable Philip Davis, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Honorable Mr. Michael Darville, Minister of Health, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin, Minister of Education, hospital administrators, other officials, and other dignitaries, Dr. Cindy Dorsett, President of the Medical Association of the Bahamas, Dr. Loxley Monroe, President, the UWI Medical Association Alumni, Dr. Corinne Sinqui, Director, the University of the West Indies School of Clinical Medicine and Research, the Bahamas, Dr. Robin Roberts, Immediate Past Director, the UWI Scmr Bahamas, lecturers and faculty and staff of UWI Scmr, graduates of the class of 2022, as well as your family and special guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good evening. Welcome to our oath, swearing, and award ceremony for this graduating class of 2022 UWI School of Clinical Medicine and Research. I am Dr. Sabrika Pinder-Butler, lecturer, family medicine, and it is indeed a pleasure to serve as your MC for this momentous occasion. The clinical training program of our undergraduate medical students was established in 1997 at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Since then, we have seen significant growth in our program, not only in the number of medical students that we have graduated, but also in fulfilling our mission of inspiring excellence and producing leaders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and throughout the world. God's faithfulness, coupled with your hard work, determination, and the support of your loved ones and teachers, has allowed you, the class of 2022, to awaken to this very day. I, too, am a proud graduate of the UWI Bahamas campus class of 2003, which is why I'm especially honored to be a part of this ceremony as we celebrate the achievements of our graduates and proudly witness the induction of the newest doctors in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Welcome again to all, and I trust that we will all have an enjoyable evening. And with that, I will now invite Dr. Cindy Dorsett, President of the Medical Association of the Bahamas, to bring us remarks.
Good evening. To the Right Honorable Philip Davis, Prime Minister, Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Glennis Hannah Martin, Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, Dr. Corinne Sinqui, Director, the University of the West Indies School of Clinical Medicine and Research, all those in a position to make an impactful, meaningful into the lives of the students, my new colleague, my old colleague, family, friends, on behalf of the Medical Association of the Bahamas, welcome. Tonight, I reminisce on last year. Last year, we focused a whole lot on self-care, advocating to the new doctors to remember self-care. Self-care is still pertinent, still important. But tonight I want to talk to you just a teeny itsy bit about pivoting. In the game of basketball, one foot is always held grounded to the ground, and you use that foot as your pivot foot. Well, the same thing goes for in medicine. A lot has changed since the pandemic. And you've all know, because teaching and medicine to you was a bit different, so you had to make some adjustments. You had to pivot. Pivoting, that foot on the ground, is your education, it is your goals, and it's your ethics. And never compromise your ethics to the Bahamian population. But there comes a time when things happen. You may want at the end of your internship to get into emergency medicine, but there's no more space. So we're going to need you to pivot, to make that adjustment, to probably try family medicine instead. You're going to hear a lot of speeches tonight, but I want to share a small, brief story with you that's true. So I don't know if anyone realized, a lot of people know, but over this weekend, we had an awesome experience with the Dragon boat racing coming to the Bahamas for the first time, inaugural. Dr. Chin and Dr. Shea and persons who supported and contributed, like Dr. Sinquid, was excellent. An awesome job. Kudos. And in saying that, the Medical Association of the Bahamas sponsored a team. So we went to training, and we trained many days, but our team, we were called the medics, and we became a joke. Yeah, they made plenty joke on us, right? Plenty joke, Dr. Robin Roberts. And the thing was that one simple day, we capsized a couple of times, and they claimed we had the record. But what they did not realize, that in the face of adversity, we became experts on getting back in that boat. So when the big dance come on Saturday, everyone, we line up to the line for one of our meets, and as we were going out, we capsized. But we had won our other heats, so fine. We capsized, but guess what? We turned that boat back over. We jumped in that boat. We went to the starting line. The whistle, the horn went off, and we won. We won that heat. Now the thing is, at that exact same time, there was another boat, and they capsized right before we started. But that boat couldn't get back in. They couldn't get back in time. So we had our periods of adversity, you understand me? We kept our foot on the ground. We pivoted, we adjusted, but up here, we were prepared because we knew what it was to fight that tough fight. We were prepared. So while others laughed at us, they didn't realize we were experts. We were the only group, because many groups turned over because the weather became a little choppy. But we were the only group that were able to get back in the boat, and we won. And then, to top it off, we're going to have a few points in this, because most of the teams at the end, when crunch time came, they pull out all their big guns. They had pure, males, I think 8 males and just 1 female. 2 of the boats that were first and second, we got them into the A category. Nobody knew that we would make it there, but we were there. We were in the big league. But the thing is that when you begin to just stammer a bit, and you think, oh, I'm a female, I'm not. No, in our boat, we're equal. We had 50% male and 50% female. So we went up against the team that only took out 1 single female, because they were taking out their best team to win. But we were grounded. We had practiced and we had made our adjustments and everything for days to come. And again, we were in the top 3 out of about 20, Dr. Chin. So we were up there. And again, they bring out this thing and they start talking about age, because everybody was young. Now, we had 1 or 2 people over 50 in our group. And they start calling from young to geriatrics. Dr. Roberts, I don't know who they mean, but are geriatrics. But we wasn't taking that. So at the end of the day, don't let age stop you. So there are goals. You maintain your goals. You know what is up here. You know what you are moving towards. And you don't let no wind, no wave, no laughter, no chat, no little person on the side criticizing you in your ears. You just press forward. So this is it. I'm telling you, keep that resilience. Just remember the medics team. You're going to see us out there again next year, Dr. Chin. We got this. So the point remains that we want you to remain resilient in everything you do. We want you to remain faithful to the Bahamian population. Don't let go of your training. You've only just begun. Your training is going to take you far. And remember, what the pandemic showed us, we got to adjust. You got to have that pivot foot, and you got to be able to pivot, to adjust, to remain relevant. I pray that the God remains with you and guide you as he orders your steps, because again, you have only just begun. On behalf of the Medical Association of the Bahamas, to our newest colleagues, we greet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dorsett, for those most inspiring words. And at this time, we will welcome the president of the Medical Alumni Association of the University of the West Indies, Dr. Loxley Monroe.
Good afternoon, all. Madam Director, thank you for this invitation. Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Philip Brave Davis, Michael Darwood, Ms. Glennis Hannah Martin from QC, and I see another friend of mine here, Dr. Hubert Minnis, former Prime Minister, and some other folks in here, their names will be called. I appreciate this opportunity to speak on behalf of the University of the West Indies. I was asked to take over this organization in 2013, and I think I see my brother Carl Battle in the back there. He's tired of me calling this out, that we, after 3 years of having meetings every first Sunday in the month, a decision was made to move the organization forward because of what we call accountability. And during those meetings, we would sit down and try to figure out what were the challenges the students were facing. There was one challenge in particular, accessibility to admission. So one of the ideas that was brought up was to have a student's desk, that the Medical Alumni Association would pay for a student's desk, that any question that an applicant had would be answered. You're paying to get that answer. Because so many of our bright students end up in universities and other places where they pay $200 or $300 for an orientation. UWI don't orientate anybody. They could go anywhere else except UWI. UWI is one of the best universities, well, not one of. For me, it is the best university in the world. Okay? So we talk about a student's desk. We talk about having dormitory for students here in the Bahamas. We talk about trying to ensure that all the campuses were synchronized. And I always use the analogy of the Anglican Diocese of the West Indies. That organization covers every jurisdiction in the Caribbean and the West Indies. Guyana, Belize, Jamaica, anyone that you cover. Why is it that we don't get ourselves together as the University of the West Indies? Let us support UWI. That's what we need to do. Okay? So, again, when you look into the history of this organization, UWI started in 1948 with the Asquith Commission. And literally, it started at University College of the West Indies, and only the 33 brightest students went there as medical students. So I see there are about 35 medical students here this evening. This is almost reminiscent of the initiation of UWI. Now, we started off with health. Bismarck was a chancellor in Germany in 1970, and he started the whole business of national health. He ended up doing it in 3 phases. Why? The concept was the health of a nation is the wealth of a nation. It started during the Industrial Revolution. If your natives were unhealthy, then you had to have migrants doing the work to build your nation. Why aren't you using your natives to build your nation? After the Second World War, that is when UWI started. That the Caribbean doctors, the little Negroes, African descent, could be educated to the level that they were educated in the United Kingdom. That is where UWI started. That is the standard from 1948 that we need to maintain. Yes, there are differences. You got gender, you got all religion, all sorts of different things. But that academic standard needs to be maintained. We need to ensure that the students that we are graduating are of the highest order in our jurisdiction, not second class. Now, again, there isn't, as I say all the while, there isn't anything in this world that is free. Not even salvation. If you watch the crucifixion, the passion, Jesus took some licks for all of us. He swiped his card. There has to be ways to maintain your health system. Not no jokey way. It has to be serious. If you are going to maintain the standard of your university, the standard of your health system, it requires input. And that is where, again, the Alumni Association is trying to ensure that our alma mater is going to be sustained. That is one of the dreams that I have, because the university has caused me to be where I am today, and I'm satisfied with my life. I'm quite satisfied. And I think my tertiary level education and all the other stuff that I've done, because of my entrance into the university, has allowed me to get to this point. There's a book, again, in the Bible called Job. Naked I come from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return. What are you going to leave? What is the legacy that you are going to leave when you leave here? Is it because you're going to have a 3-story house, a Jaguar, a yacht, or something or the other? What is the purpose? They're all going to rot. If you can ensure that the generation, your 3rd and 4th generation coming up behind you, is going to reach the same level that you are, then you will truly have a legacy. So my appeal to you, as the president of the Alumni Association, is to use your time, talent, your funds to assist and to support your alma mater. I I'm no longer actively working at the hospital, but I certainly has not stopped working for the University of the West Indies. And I would like to invite you as new graduates to make your contribution. Your time, your talent, if you have money, yes, but time, talent, money, they all go together. They can all be used for the University of the West Indies. So I would like to congratulate this class. You don't have to be making any huge contribution now. You're just starting out. The journey is just beginning. But I would like for you to put into your mind that at the end of the day, you're going to be supporting your alma mater, because this step that you're taking today is because of University of the West Indies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Monroe. Certainly it's important for us to continue to support the University of the West Indies. That is the only way for us to continue to ensure that we have further generations of medical students and doctors that will be able to take care of our patients and our population of the Bahamas. So thank you for those encouraging words. Most important. I also too wish to acknowledge our former Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Hubert Minnis, as well. The University of the West Indies School of Clinical Medicine and Research, we have recently had a changing of the guard. Our new director is a founding member of the UWI training program. She has also served diligently for many years on various committees of the University of the West Indies, and also along with Dr. Robin Roberts at the UWI School of Clinical Medicine and Research. We expect and we know that she will continue to provide stellar leadership. I speak of none other than Dr. Corinne Sinqui. Let us welcome her to bring program overview.
Good night, everyone. Protocol is already established, but I'd like to thank our Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Philip Brave Davis, our Minister of Health, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, our Minister of Education, the Honorable Glenys Hannah Martin, and our immediate past Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis, for joining us today. It's already been mentioned that the University of the West Indies started in 1948. So next year, it will celebrate its 75th year of existence. And that the inaugural program was medicine. And we already heard that it started out with 33 of the best students in the region, similar to the number that we graduate tonight. Since then, there's been rapid growth with the expansion now to 5 campuses. UWI, as we know it, remains the top university in the region and in the top 4% of the global best universities. Much to be proud of. In 1997, the Bahamas expanded its involvement from the participation in training just interns after the completion of medical school. And our initial collaboration was with St. Augustine campus in Trinidad. And some 10 years later, in 2007, the oversight was transferred to the Mona campus in Jamaica with the formation of the School of Clinical Medicine and Research. Medical students transfer here for the final 2 years of training after completing the first 3 preclinical years in Jamaica, Trinidad, and Barbados. The original intent was to enroll 25 students per year with a complement of some 50 students at any given time. The interest in medicine, though, blossomed, and up to 100 students rotated last year. This number offered special challenges but the ingenuity of the faculty and the administrative staff and the use of telemedicine allowed a meaningful experience nonetheless. However, we are in the process of reducing the numbers, and only 28 students are expected for the class of 2024. Special commendation must be made to what this small training site has accomplished with a faculty of 6 full-time lecturers and 87 clinical tutors and honorary, sometimes not paid, associate lecturers. We could not have done this without the partnerships with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, and the Public Hospital Authority. A commitment of payment of 80% of tuition for students selected to receive the subvention is in place. Last year, the government of the Bahamas paid over $1.9 million towards the tuition of these students. We also acknowledge the donations of much needed assistance for students and special projects from the Foreman Foundation, the 1948 Society, the Consultant Physician Staff Association, UWI Medical Alumni Association, the Class of 2021, and Doctors Hospital, and all other private individuals. We hope that other corporate sponsors will step up to offer their assistance as well to ensure the success of all the students, leaving none behind. The investment has been well spent. Approximately 600 students have graduated from this site, with the newest graduates included in that number. And in the past 5 years, over 90% of the graduates continue to remain in or return to the Bahamas, similar to findings in an earlier review of graduates from 1983 to 2003. And in that cohort, we noticed that some of them spend their entire lifespan in their career in the public sector. The brain drain seen in many countries in the region did not occur in the Bahamas. We note, however, that in the recent years, an increasing number of persons doing their postgraduate training overseas are not returning, for whatever reason. This has been offset by the development of local postgraduate programs since 2002 in family medicine, psychiatry, internal medicine, surgery, pediatrics, and emergency medicine. 131 specialists have been added. This is timely as we prepare to replace outgoing physicians who have reached a mandatory retirement age of 65 years, and also to care for our aging population. The importance of having a suitable number of well-trained physicians cannot be underscored, and was most appreciated in the recent years. Hurricane Dorian in 2019 and the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 placed tremendous strain on our healthcare system. The doctors were called upon to go above and beyond the call of duty, and they did. Now let us look at the class of 2022. Although we're a small training site, we have held our own and delivered the program maintaining the outstanding UWI standards. We completed the examination as if we had a large computer center and finished with results comparable to those of the other larger campuses. My heartiest congratulations to you all. For this class, approximately one-third, achieved honors or distinction performance in medicine. And one of our students training at our site, achieved the second highest score in over 300 students sitting these exams in the region. And another one of our students in this class will graduate with a distinction degree based on our overall performance. So we again prove that we may be a small training site, but definitely a reckon to deal with. But we still have much ahead of us to improve upon and to add to. Our evaluation visit by CAM HP is scheduled for November 2022, this year, a couple months. UWI is well advanced in providing information needed to reassure the world of its standards. This is important as it aligns itself with the change in the ECFMG certification requirements for medical schools in 2023. We need to continue to improve on our branding and maintain the interests of our brightest and best students to enroll here. We commit to continue to work on the administrative issues to make the process easier for the students once they transfer. The challenges of the COVID pandemic restrictions initially for student access to the hospital are now behind us. We must maintain our standards and move to the old norm of hands-on training while embracing the positive influence of virtual learning and cross-campus collaboration. Great efforts are being made to address the negative impact on patients with chronic, non-communicable diseases that resulted in reduced numbers and types of patients admitted and the scheduling of patients for elective surgeries. This will also enhance the exposure and learning for our medical students and residents. We are hopeful to resume providing interns in June 2023. The impact felt in this past month reminds us how much we depend on having all positions filled to run an efficient system, and how even a month delay is too much for an already strained system. The expansion to a full 5-year program will be reviewed, but requires careful consideration on its feasibility and may require new and continued partnerships. With all this in mind, a new site for the school must be explored, especially with plans for a new hospital and demolition of our current building once the maternity child health wing commences. We hope to be an integral part of the discussions for the placement of needed physicians in the family islands and for the identification and training in other specialist areas of need. We hope to attract funding for research, maybe via the National Health Insurance Plan and other national, regional, and international sources. We look forward to updating our agreement with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, and the PHA to affirm our joint commitment of continued partnership to provide the physicians to serve the healthcare needs of the people of the Bahamas. We hope that you will all be a part of the big celebrations planned for next year, 2023, in recognition of 25 years for the Bahamas site as a fertile training ground for medical students and specialists, 50 years for an independent Bahamas, 75 years for UWI as a beacon of light in the West. The future depends on what we do in the present, says Mahatma Gandhi, and we must continue to make wise decisions that will lay the foundation in healthcare for our unborn children. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Director Dr. Sinqui, for those wonderful overview of our school. Certainly, we are glad that we have so many wonderful dignitaries here with us this evening, and I trust that they would have made note of all of those recommendations moving forward to continue to help the University of the West Indies School of Clinical Medicine and Research, Bahamas. So we have reached one of the exciting parts as well of our program. We know that all of our doctors have performed extremely well throughout the course of their training and extremely well during exams. Sometimes they are a bit stressful, but you have all done us proud. However, at this time, we want to present special presentations to two of our students. I will call Dr. Sinqui at this time. So at this time, we were going to invite Dr. Dal Regis to present the Dr. Anthony Regis Award. This award is presented to the best performance in the MBBS examinations. And this year, we are honored to call Dr. Chelsea Gibson for that award. Excellent job, excellent job. We have another special award this evening, and that award is the Dr. Cecil Bethel Award, which is given to our doctor who is the best overall student of the class of 2022. All right. Sound like y'all know who that is. All right. Let's welcome Dr. Angelique Smith. Well done. Let's give them a round of applause again. Certainly, again, all of our doctors have done extremely well, and we are very proud of all of you. At this time, we will again revert to some remarks. We do have important dignitaries with us today who have been extremely important in the training of our doctors. We could not go any further without education, and so we are delighted to have the Honorable Glennis Hannah Martin with us this evening. She will bring remarks.
Thank you. Good evening. I wish to recognize our Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Edward Davis, the Minister of Health, Dr. Darville, Michael Darville, Dr. Sinqui, former Prime Minister, former Minister of Health, Dr. Robin Roberts, of course, Dr. Dal Regis, and all of the distinguished guests and of the medical profession who are here, and the Class of 2022. I am so happy to be here to join with everyone here present, and most especially with your parents and families and your friends to celebrate the wonderful achievement that today represents. This evening's event is the pinnacle of a huge mountain of hard work, the end of a rocky road strewn with sacrifice and fueled all the way by a dogged pursuit of excellence. You have every reason to be proud of your well-earned achievements. But as you embark on this important career, may you never, ever forget the journey that brought you here today. May you never, ever forget those who helped you get here where you are today. May you always have a heart of gratitude and a spirit of thankfulness of an omnipresent God which held you through the challenges and ushered you to success. Please know that the nation too celebrates with you. We claim you as our own. I know your parents claim you, but we claim you, the rest of us claim you too. The daughters and sons of this great nation. We are proud of your disciplined application, your ironclad resilience, your sparkling brilliance. You will add capacity to our national treasury of healthcare professionals. I'm advised that you are joining the ranks of over 563 undergraduate doctors who have completed the School of Clinical Medicine and Research program at the University of the West Indies between 1999 to 2021, all having graduated successfully with their medical degrees. This is a rich national treasury indeed. It is interesting, therefore, indeed it is ironic, that in the face of this highly skilled and significant resource, which tonight you now complement, that we are witnessing such concerning health statistics in the Bahamas, particularly as it relates to the chronic non-communicable diseases. We see this in the worrying prevalence of lifestyle diseases and conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, and obesity, and even in certain forms of violence which suggest underlying mental health issues. We see it in the economic loss to families due to catastrophic illness and associated disabilities, and in the huge expenditure for prescription drugs under the National Insurance Prescription Plan, which is underwritten by taxpayers. It is of concern that more than half of our hospital beds are occupied by persons suffering from like illnesses. It is at this very hospital, I'm advised, that you will be granted internship posts, and I believe you will witness these things firsthand. I challenge you to always remember that your pursuit of medicine is a sacred commitment, not just to heal the sick, but simultaneously to promote premium physical and mental health in our population. The reversal of these disturbing statistics should, in my humble opinion, be at the forefront of healthcare delivery in the Bahamas and should weigh heavily on your hearts and minds. It is, in my view, a national emergency. Because, and we've heard this already from Dr. Monroe, the health of a nation is the wealth of a nation. And conversely, a nation plagued by poor health outcomes becomes impoverished. Before I end, please join me in specially recognizing Dr. Robin Roberts, now the outgoing Director of School of Clinical Medicine and Research. Thank you. Thank you for your dedication to the education and preparation of our nation's physicians over the years and for all your contribution to our national life. I extend a welcome to the new director, Dr. Corinne Sinqui, and I extend my best wishes to you as you embark on this new undertaking. Distinguished physicians, I am here tonight to congratulate you and to wish you a most successful career. Always remember, in the words of the late, great Bob Marley, the greatness of man is not how much wealth he acquires, but in his ability to affect those around him positively. I look forward to your positive effect in our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those remarks, Honorable Minister of Education. We will now hear from the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, Minister of Health and Wellness. He will also introduce our keynote speaker for this evening, Prime Minister of the Bahamas. Let's welcome Dr. Darville.
Thank you so much, Ms. Moderator. I remember a few years ago, I went to a lecture series, and I stepped into the lecture hall, and the topic was man in charge, woman run things. Yeah, and the speaker was a male. So tonight, as me and Prime Minister Davis went through the list of the graduates, we have 11 men, correct me if I'm wrong, and a total graduating class of 35 women, which is about 35% male, and the women are in charge, large and in charge. I believe this is a reflection of what is happening across the board in academics throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And men, we have to do better. What is even more interesting is as we begin to look at what we need to do for the subvention at the University of the West Indies, we are realizing that less and less men are graduating as doctors in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I made a joke while we were discussing the subvention. I said, boy, we have to do something a little bit more innovative to get men involved. Maybe we need to offer them a car or something special to get them into the medical program. But I say that, but things must be done in order for us to attract more males into healthcare and more specifically into the various disciplines of medicine. Standing on the appropriate protocol, I wish to acknowledge our Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Philip Brave Davis, our former Prime Minister, Dr. Minnis, who is a graduate from the University of the West Indies, like many of us. And as Dr. Loxley Monroe was on the podium, I too would like to join with him and to say that the University of the West Indies is here to stay. Dr. Swinqui, I congratulate you on the new post, and Dr. Roberts, thank you on behalf of the Bahamian people for your contribution to this program and your contribution to providing care for Bahamians, particularly male care, for many years. You're still with us, but I think this is the appropriate time for me to give you the kudos while I'm at the mic. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this commencement exercise and to see our 2022 graduates here for all of us to witness, family and friends, loved ones, and to congratulate you on a job well done. Last week, our Prime Minister was right in this same place at the BAHAMAS resort with world leaders speaking specifically about something that impacts us all: climate change, its impact to our GDP, its impact to delivery of healthcare systems throughout the country. And I want to take this opportunity to thank BAHAMAS and this wonderful resort for the great work that they did in displaying our country 1 week ago. It's all over social media, and join me in giving them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to give the 2022 graduating class a sounding round of applause. I congratulate you. You've done it. I believe that this commencement exercise is a very special occasion for more than one reason. Most of these graduates studied medicine in uncontrolled challenges and very difficult to study in the midst of a pandemic. The university had to go into a cyber mode. A lot of the lectures were done via the internet. They had to be innovative. They had to do it rapidly. You were not in the hospitals, but yet you still survive. Learning, working, and studying during a global pandemic has been challenging for our graduates, and I applaud you and all healthcare providers who worked in our hospitals and clinics and provided the necessary tertiary care for our residents during a difficult time. I encourage you, graduates, to continue to draw on your inner strengths. You know, sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes when we start this program, we really don't know who we are, but we are challenged. It's mind over matter. It's academic skill. It's the ability to function under difficult circumstances. You have tested your inner strengths. And I believe these abilities are very essential as part of the medical training that would catapult you throughout your career. Remember to guard your attitudes. I want to say that again. We have to learn to guard our attitudes when we practice medicine and we give services to the Bahamian people. We have to. Be respectful to your professors and teachers. Stay connected to your professional colleagues. No man is an island. None of us are all-knowing. Understand your limitations. Do not begin to do things that you're really not skilled to do. Seek advice. Work together as a team to provide the best quality of care that you possibly can for the patient in front of you. Remain humble. Control those egos. Do not allow the ego to supersede your ability. Stay grounded and be humble. But always remember that the higher you get, the more knowledge you attain, you truly understand how deficient you really are. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, this David Lair's administration came to office with a mindset to bring meaningful change to our public health care system. Essential infrastructural upgrades to our clinics, our hospitals, remain a priority, and since coming to office, the Cabinet of the Bahamas, thanks to their support, have given me as minister the ability to hire 30 new doctors in our healthcare system. 15 are already in the system, and in a few months, an additional 15 will be brought on. Let me assure you that the access to quality healthcare services in our country is a priority for this David Laird's administration. Training and legislative reform is a high priority for my ministry, and in the next few months we will be debating some key pieces of legislation that is aimed to transform the delivery of healthcare systems, but improve the way we practice medicine throughout the country. During the recent 2022-2023 budget debate, we were able to initiate some key new budget line items. Thanks to our Prime Minister, $10 million have been allocated for selective catastrophic health services that will foreshadow this administration's commitment to bring catastrophic health insurance as outlined in our Blueprint for Change. Also, my ministry have created a new budget line item that speaks to the importance of health and wellness, and the Minister of Education spoke specifically about it. It aims to put new strategies in place to address the Trinidad Accord to reduce the incidence of chronic non-communicable diseases in our country. $2.5 million have been set aside to improve medical outcome strategies and reduce the instances of chronic non-communicable diseases and other major disease burdens throughout our archipelago. Over the past 4 weeks, my technical team and I have been visiting clinics, healthcare facilities throughout the archipelago, taking a hands-on approach to assess the evaluation, the progress of repairs and upgrades of all our major clinics to determine the next steps and the way forward to create equity in the system. A lot of poor Bahamians are not getting the quality of health care they deserve. And we have to do better. With over $4 million allocated for the upkeep of community clinics and $18 million for repairs and upgrades of hospitals, my ministry is working hard to ensure that our clients and health professionals are working in safe environments at our clinics and hospitals. With cabinet approval of hiring nearly 500 persons in various healthcare positions, my ministry continues to ensure that the necessary complement of manpower resources is available not only in New Providence, but throughout the Family Islands. We must improve the delivery of healthcare services in our Family Islands to ensure that our Family Island residents have the same quality care as we have in New Providence and Grand Bahama. With the recent signing of the industrial agreement, our hard-working nurses will remain committed to a sustained advancement in our workforce. And we will continue to do all in our power to keep our healthcare workers in country and prevent further brain drain that we are now noticing from countries to the north. Ladies and gentlemen, as I look over this room at our young doctors, I want you to know, young doctors, that this Laird administrations remain committed to creating opportunities for healthcare professionals across the board, and we at the Ministry of Health are preparing and willing to listen to new innovative ideas that can come from you. Despite our many challenges, I remain optimistic as the Minister of Health about the future of healthcare in our country, and I look forward to partnering with our new doctors and our healthcare professionals to improve a system that is currently broken. Ladies and gentlemen, before taking my seat and inviting our Prime Minister to the podium, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to all of the faculty at the University of the West Indies. The University of the West Indies, Bahamas campus, to my understanding, have graduated a wide cross-section of professionals, both undergraduate and postgraduate, and will continue to do so with the support of the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Over 90% of the graduates from this particular campus are Bahamians, and I am hopeful that the need for physicians across our archipelago will be satisfied now and the years to come through the University of the West Indies. Finally, to the families of the graduate, I applaud you for your support, love, and commitment to your children. I was humbled by this experience years ago and can still see the smile on my late mother's face as I receive, as you will receive today. Looking back, all I can say is to God be the glory. Graduates, today you should feel inspired, knowing that you have achieved your medical degree in this noble profession that you must perform and provide compassionate care for the patients that you are privileged to serve. Hippocrates stated that wherever the art of medicine is loved, there also be indications of love for humanity. Graduates, remember to love God. Always put him first and follow the way of the great physician. Love the patients that you are privileged to serve. Once again, graduates, congratulations to you. And I am indeed happy to have you on board as team members with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and look forward to working with you closely now and in the future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to introduce a man who I have the privilege to serve in his cabinet. He is compassionate, caring, and is committed to the transformation of the healthcare system. He's not only hardworking, but he demonstrates compassion in leadership. And he is capable of unraveling the complexities of governance that face the Commonwealth of the Bahamas at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand with me as I invite the Prime Minister to the podium to bring his keynote address.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. To my parliamentary colleagues present, in particular, Minister of Education and Minister of Health who just introduced me, to my parliamentary secretary, Leon Lundy, is at the President of the Senate present, and to the former Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, Dr. Dal Regis, good to see you, Dr. Diggers. And I like to lend my voice to the chorus of appreciation and thank you for Dr. Robin Roberts for the service he's given to the medical community and to teachers. We do appreciate it. I want to let you know that I do thank you. I also lend my voice to the chorus of congratulations to the new director, Dr. Sinkwe, and wish you well as you embark on this new journey. And to all those here present, I want to say, particularly the parents and family members of the graduating class of 2022, I want to say to you all, congratulations to the parents for their commitment and love and support given to these new graduates. Congratulations. You know, I'll start off by saying good evening once again. At one time or another, so many young children dream of becoming doctors. In fact, my father dreamed of me becoming a doctor. In the childish imagination, doctors are almost magical figures of healing, figures of great power and authority. In the experience of many adults, doctors are trusted figures, especially at moments of great personal crisis or peril, when they are seemingly gifted with the ability to determine life or death. And so we salute you, the ladies and gentlemen whose commitment to this noble vocation has brought you to this moment, the taking of the oath and donning of the white coat. I was surprised to learn about the origins of the practice of doctors wearing the white coat. I imagined that this had always been the case, given the obvious associations with cleanliness and safety. However, it turns out that up until the late 19th century, doctors only wore black. Apparently, this was meant to give them a serious, somber presence and usefully disguise the necessary dirt and stains of the profession. As scientific advances made clear the need to operate in sterile, germ-free environments, the black coat was changed to white. Even then, doctors understood the need to promote trust between themselves and their patients, as well as the general public. The Hippocratic Oath, which you swear, is also noteworthy in that it is focused on ethics, not on science, not on individual medical practices, not on biology, chemistry, or physics, but ethics. And what is the study of ethics? Put simply, it is a consideration of what is the right thing to do. And so this evening's ceremony, the moment when you officially become doctors, is characterized by symbols of ethics and trust. Symbols dignify the occasion. They bring solemnity to the moment. Matters of trust and ethical consideration are two areas of great conflict and challenge in these times. And they both draw from the same well in answering the question, at any given time, what is the right thing to do? When I received the instruments of the office of Prime Minister, I spoke of the need for productive partnership between the government and the Bahamian people. This was my prescription for addressing the erosion of trust in the body politic. I extend the same thought to you this evening. One of the best ways to ensure the good health and wellness of our nation is for there to be productive partnership between the government and members of the medical profession. Given the role that doctors play, it almost goes without saying that you must be at the forefront of that partnership. If ever we were ignorant before, through the experiences of the pandemic and Hurricane Dorian, none of us can be in any doubt as to the valuable roles you play in securing the health of our people. We should never tire of saying thank you for all that doctors have done and continue to do to help our people. But we know that doing so has taken a terrible toll on members of your profession. We understand how doctors gave and sacrificed through the bouts of repeated COVID infection, the overwhelmed and near collapse of our healthcare system, the stress and mental burnout of long hours and limited resources, not to mention the long absences from loved ones. We also understood how, during the height of it, many felt undervalued and underpaid. This was why, as a matter of fundamental principle, one of the first acts of my administration was to resolve the issue of outstanding pay, which soured relationships between the government and doctors. I appreciate that many have been left feeling uncertain and demoralized, unsure that the government will fully play its part in the partnership. As long as I'm charged with the leadership of the country, you have my word that we will. We are truly at an inflection point in history, not just here in the Bahamas, but around the world. Environmental, economic, and political upheavals have challenged and are changing the old way of doing things. We cannot carry on as before. For too long, we have spoken of change. Now is the time to act. We have already set in motion some of our plans to implement some big changes in health and wellness. But first, we need to get to grips with the basics. I should point out that even though they are basic, they still require substantial investment. For example, we are already investing in 2 new state-of-the-art hospitals in Grand Bahama and New Providence. This is a major step forward in upgrading the infrastructure of our healthcare system. We have also expanded the provision of specialist family medical doctors so that we are well on track to ensure that every government clinic has one, including those in the Family Islands. And we are also continuing to move towards the provision of universal health coverage. This is a foundational change in the way Bahamians can access healthcare services. These exciting developments are happening now, at the beginning of your careers. You have the opportunity to be a part of it, to help guide and shape the future, such that healthcare in the Bahamas can form part of each of your personal legacies. The government is playing its part in providing a structure and framework to promote good health and wellness. At each stage and step of the way, we must squarely answer the question, what is the right thing to do? What can you do? I trust that each of you already has a vision for your career. That includes how you help those who seek your care. Apart from the personal, there's much that you can do to support national development. For example, social media has done much to undermine confidence in some established medical practices. For many decades in this country, we have taken vaccines against polio, mumps, measles, and so many of the viruses which killed millions of children and young people before us. These immunizations were part of a worldwide effort to wipe out the scourges that had afflicted generations. And yet, the immunization against the COVID-19 virus, one of the great collaborative efforts of our time, is undermined by misinformation transmitted via voice notes and YouTube videos. You can play a critical role in helping to restore trust, to promote evidence and reason. You can help your patients and the wider public to understand the best way forward. This is a small but pivotal example of the impact that you can have. In fact, you have already entered into a partnership with the Bahamian people. Through the government subventions which supported your education, you've already agreed to give back in terms of service to the public health. I hope that the satisfaction of this obligation is not viewed as a chore, but as an opportunity to practice your profession among and on behalf of your fellow countrymen. In so many ways, the Bahamas, and indeed the whole world, is in need of healing. By your oath and the symbolism of your white coat, I pray that you bring your best selves to play your part in that effort. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for those words, encouraging words to our graduates. And we look forward to the continued support, yourself and the government, to the University of the West Indies School of Clinical Medicine and Research. Thank you very much. We are now going to have a selection from this wonderful Royal Bahamas Defense Force Band. Testing. Thank you. What a splendid rendition of a most appropriate song, One Moment in Time, by our world-renowned Royal Bahamas Defense Force band. Wonderful. And with that, we have reached that moment in time as we are about to embark on the induction of our new doctors. Due to the COVID pandemic, we were not able to have robing as we had done in the past years. So we have not done that for the past 2 oath swearing ceremonies. So this is the first time since then that we're able to do that tonight. So I think we're all excited about that. Those persons that will be robing are graduates. If you would kindly start to make your way to my right-hand side, I will call the names of the graduates. And then we will ask, and I will also call the name of the robers. We're going to begin with Dr. Sharon Thompson, who will be robing Dr. Jared Albury. Dr. Janelle Osadabe will robe Dr. Norshanti Bain. Dr. Taria Bain will be robed by Dr. Winston Phillips. Dr. Tyrone Butch Bartlett will robe Dr. Travis Bartlett. Dr. Morgan Bethel will be robed by Dr. Mildred Hall Watson. Dr. Dawn Major will robe Dr. Ave Bethel. Dr. Jerome Lightburn will robe Dr. Kanisa Bowles. Dr. Charles Digges will robe Dr. Georgia Bowe. Dr. Eric Brown will robe Dr. Ariana Brown. Dr. Danielle Strawn-Boleg will robe Dr. Shanae Butler. Dr. Phyllis Darville will robe Dr. Celine Cartwright. Dr. Tavenet Ingram will robe Dr. Rose Charles. Dr. Jansen Johnson will robe Dr. Mateo Clare. Dr. Deshawn Saunders will robe Dr. Gregonique Cooper. Dr. Talisha Deal will robe Dr. Felice Cox. Dr. Loxley Monroe will robe Dr. Avery Cunningham. Dr. Dion Dames will robe Dr. Barbriana Dawkins. Dr. Paul Roberts will robe Dr. Edika Dean. Dr. Gregory Neal will robe Dr. Brandon DeVoe. Dr. Anthony Frankson will robe Dr. Kevin Farquharson. Dr. Karen Rowe will robe Dr. Chelsea Gibson. Dr. Catherine Conliffe will robe Dr. Jeanne Hilton. Dr. Juliet Dorset will robe Dr. Nakirsha Lightburn. Dr. James Johnson will robe Dr. Pedro Neely. Dr. Ethan Brown will robe Dr. Adunola Olurin. Dr. Kevin Moss will robe Dr. Nathaniel Papal. Dr. Christy Parker Curling will robe Dr. Kyle Saunders. Dr. Christine Chin will robe Dr. Zaria Seymour. Dr. Valencia Johnson will robe Dr. Angelique Smith. Dr. Darbrielle Hunt Burrows will robe Dr. Devante Smith. Dr. Valron Grimes will robe Dr. Michaela Stubbs. Dr. Tonette Hannah will robe Dr. Kaysan Turnquest. Dr. Rodlin Malcolm will robe Dr. Lince Vincent. And Dr. Robin Roberts will robe Dr. Charles Virgil IV. Let's give them a round of applause. Wonderful. I'm now going to ask the class of 2022 to stand as you prepare to take your oath. I will also invite Dr. Chelsea Gibson to lead you in the oath, and she will give the response on behalf of the class of 2022 following the oath.
Good evening.
All doctors can stand.
The oath. I gratefully acknowledge the distinction to be conferred upon me. And I solemnly promise that as a graduate in medicine, I will abide steadfast in all due loyalty to the ethics of my profession and endeavor always to promote the welfare and maintain the reputation of the University of the West Indies. I will abide steadfast in all due loyalty to the ethics of my profession and endeavor always to promote the welfare and maintain the reputation of the University of the West Indies. Further, in the exercise of my profession, I will ever have in mind the care of the sick and the well-being of the healthy. I will ever have in mind the care of the sick and the well-being of the healthy. To this end, I will use all my knowledge and judgment. I will keep silent on any matter which I may see or hear in the course of my professional work and which would be improper to divulge. I will keep silent on any matter which I may see or hear in the course of my professional work and which would be improper to divulge. I will not permit consideration of religion, nationality, race, party politics, or social standing to influence my duty to my patient. Thank you. Protocol having already been established, good evening, everyone. Class of 2022, I'm so honored to be here with you to celebrate this momentous occasion. I'm sure I speak on behalf of each one of us when I say that for so long, this day seemed like a distant, impossible dream. But by God's grace, we've made it victoriously, and I couldn't ask for a better cohort to share this experience with. As we come to the end of this chapter, I can't help to reflect on the significance of time and where it all began. We all had unique journeys to med school. Some of us went straight out of high school, others obtained first or even second degrees, some worked, some started families, and others persisted through delays and other setbacks, understanding that a dream deferred is not a dream denied. We commenced our medical school experiences on different campuses: Mona in Jamaica, St. Augustine's in Trinidad, and Cave Hill in Barbados. We adjusted to new countries and new classmates, all while pursuing incredibly difficult courses. I was a part of the Barbados group, and I will be forever grateful for the network and support system I developed in that close-knit community. But no matter our campus origins, I'm sure we all learned important academic and life lessons, and pushed until we completed our preclinical years and came to Nassau to start at Scmr. But returning home wasn't easy. We embarked on our clinical years right at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Uncertainty enveloped the whole world, and it was a scary time in particular to be in the medical field. We worried about the potential exposure we could face by being in the hospital, but also worried about the impact not being in the hospital could have on our studies and our ability to complete medical school on time. Like many other students, we had to shift to virtual learning, completing our first 3 rotations online. And furthermore, because we came from different campuses, many of us didn't know each other, and not being able to meet in person didn't help. However, I'm proud to say that over time, friendships blossomed, and we became a united class. Soon, our classmates went from little Zoom boxes to people who we genuinely cared for, who made us laugh out loud, and who we couldn't wait to work alongside. And this was crucial, as we had a lot to deal with over the coming years. Our schedules constantly changing due to the latest COVID wave, anxiety over our health and our families, and for a time, the lack of patients on the ward. But we persevered, and we did whatever we had to do to make it work, watching videos and even practicing exams on each other. Many of us answered our country's call to help serve during the darkest days of the pandemic by volunteering to become contact tracers, and for that, we thank you. We leaned on each other and helped each other to find comedic relief in the form of the most perfect and accurate WhatsApp stickers for every situation we found ourselves in. And as the COVID vaccination rates increased and the prevalence of serious cases decreased, we spent more and more time in the hospital until PMH felt like a second home, and it seemed like ward rounds had always been a key part of our lives. We worked alongside each other and empathized with each other, from the frantic searches for parking in the morning, especially if we were running late, to offering each other support when it felt like we were running on E. We experienced so much together, staying in the labor ward until the early hours of the morning to watch a delivery, practicing our medicine exams dozens of times in order to get it under that dreaded 5-minute mark, and going through the surgery boxes praying we would get asked about a CVP line in the OSCE. We also gathered in the student lounge to eat lunch together and sometimes beg each other for a US dollar because for some reason that was the only currency the vending machine took. But beyond that, the lounge was also a place to catch a quick nap, to share resources, or honestly, sometimes just to complain about being tired or nerves ahead of a rotation exam. It became a place where we could offer each other support throughout a crazy day and literally laugh out loud, to the point of getting shushed because a class was going on downstairs in Pfizer. King George VI once said The highest of distinctions is to serve others, and those long hours of clinicals showed us firsthand why medicine is all about service. I must say that this cohort before you has displayed an insatiable thirst for knowledge and dedication to their craft. You see, pursuing medicine immerses you in the complexities of life. You study centuries of theory, practice, and all the innovation that has led us to a point where we know so much about healing illnesses and prolonging human life. However, as the pandemic has shown us, there is still so much we don't know. And thus, despite our best efforts, we are not always able to save everyone. Nothing can prepare you for watching a devastating diagnosis be delivered to a patient, or hearing the cries of a mother who after labors gave birth to a stillborn. But we know that doctors are not God, but as Hippocrates once said, wherever the art of medicine is loved, there is also the love of humanity. When you love your patients, when you love what you do, I think those difficult moments make you question your abilities or wonder why you've chosen this profession. And classmates, we know those difficult moments will come. But I think in those situations in particular, are when you remember your oath, deliver the absolute best of care to your patients, and put the rest in God's hands. I admonish each of us to remember to take in the beautiful moments we get to aid in delivering and bear witness to, like helping to usher a newborn into the world and then seeing that tiny baby at his 1-month wellness check, happy and healthy. Or when a severely ill child successfully responds to treatment, and weeks later, you see them happily walking through the halls with their mother. Or when a patient undergoes a surgery that gives them a second chance at life. Remember that these moments are why we persevered, for the love of our profession, but more importantly, for the love of our own people. And of course, we couldn't have made it here on our own. To the faculty, we thank you for your mentorship, for your education and support. Thank you for teaching us how to take histories, how to write treatment charts, and numerous other skills, for the countless classes and the tough love that prepared us to be the best doctors we can be. To the administrative staff, thank you for all that you do. To our families and friends, thank you for supporting us on this long path to medicine, believing in our dreams, encouraging us when we felt defeated, and celebrating our wins. Thank you for being our anchors that grounded us in who we are when we often lost sight of the bigger picture. This night is as much for you as it is for us. For me, this degree would not have been possible without some truly incredible people. To my parents, Carl and Constance, and my siblings, Carla and Cameron. I'm so grateful to have you. Thank you for always supporting my dreams and never believing me when I came home crying because I thought I failed an exam. To my grandmother, Mabel, in Bluff Eleuthero, my grandfather, Al and Hannah of Anderson Street, who were not able to be here, but I'm sure are watching at home. Thank you for your sacrifices throughout generations that made today possible. To my dear friends, both here and watching at home, thank you so much for your support and love and understanding when I went MIA because I was studying for yet another exam. And finally, last but not least, my counsel, my material girls, you know who you are. From Cave Hill to Nassau, you've helped keep me sane throughout this crazy journey of medical school, and I will be forever grateful. And to my future medical colleagues, I can't wait to start internship with you. We are nothing without our villages, and God truly showed out when He created mine. Class of 2022, we may be anxious to embark on this new chapter as interns, but just remember, we've spent the last 5 years practicing and honing our skills. Let us also remember that the learning will never stop, and we should continue to lean on each other. And when things get tough, let us remember these words. The moment you think of giving up, remind yourself then and there that you'll be a doctor, not just by name, not for a prefix, not for the money, but for the sake of humanity, for the sake of a better world. This work will be part of our contributions to our communities, to this great little country, and to this world, and I'm honored to start this journey with you. Class of 2022, we did it!
Yes, class of 2022, you did it. Give yourselves a round of applause again. And hanging on the words of Dr. Chelsea Gibson, we can't wait to work with you, fellow interns. We can't wait to have you either, so welcome. The work is great, and we know you will do well. So there have been many persons among us who have worked hard in our country as it relates to healthcare. But certainly, we know that there are special people who continue to be nation builders and who have been instrumental in being foundation members of this great University of the West Indies School of Clinical Medicine and Research. And so I'm honored as well now to invite our immediate past director, Dr. Robin Roberts, who is truly one of those stellar persons of whom I speak. I would like to give him a round of applause now, even as he comes, because truly he has been integral to the School of Clinical Medicine and Research and to healthcare in the Bahamas at large. We will now invite him to bring our vote of thanks.
Good evening. What a great evening. Truly, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Honorable Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, our former PM, my classmate, my healthcare family and colleagues, students, families, and well-wishers, good evening. First, I want to thank our newly appointed director, Dr. Sinqui, for the opportunity to give words of thanks to the last group of students to graduate as medical doctors under my directorship. It's swinging, good, great. I really want to thank her for giving us a great overview of the past and the present and the future of the University of the West Indies. And I have every reason to believe that we will continue to move forward, and I look forward to being in the presence of next year's graduating class, and also hopefully in several years, I'm looking forward to having the entire 5-year program in the Bahamas. And I would like that to happen before I pass away. I can say that because I really want to put in perspective what this 35 group of students, medical graduates, mean. When the University of the West Indies started in 1948 up to 1967, there was only one Bahamian graduate in the medical school. And then by 1980, which was my graduating class, another 20 years later, we had a total of 38 Bahamian doctors. And then from 1981 to 2000, we had reached about the 100 Bahamian doctors landmark. Never in my wildest dream, and I don't know if he's here in the audience, my colleague, Dr. Glenn Benaby, previous CMO, that when we looked at moving the University of the West Indies medical faculty here at the Princess Margaret Hospital, that in just 20 years, that we would have some 600 doctors graduated, along with 131 specialists. So tonight, I thank God for the blessings bestowed upon us as a nation, and for me to be a part of this historical occasion as we celebrate our 50th anniversary of independence, as over 90% of our undergraduate and postgraduates are Bahamian nationals, and as Dr. Sinqui outlined, most of them are here in the Bahamas. We've never experienced that brain drain that we talked about. I'm very pleased that we had some major, the top government officials here that are so important for us as an institution. I want to thank the Minister of Education, the Minister of Health, and more so the Prime Minister for leading the charge. I think in so doing, they are highlighting the importance and value that the government and successive governments placed on the school as they continue to ensure that Bahamians are given the opportunities for medical education and simultaneously they secure the physician needs of the country. And as I was thinking and making notes from the remarks given by the Minister of Education and Minister of Health, I really want to say that I think that the Prime Minister really nailed it. I was thinking I was listening to a prism going backwards in light where you had all these different colors shining through the prism, everyone giving their view of how they saw the students were given the charge for bettering the country. And then you had the bright light came out at the other end where the Prime Minister made it so clear that they are committed to better the health of the nation. They are committed to ensure that we have the doctors there to do it, that they have the plan in place in which they are looking through their blueprint of change for improving our infrastructure and, more importantly, for improving the delivery system. And that is the challenge to you, because you are the ones who have to make that change. And so I look forward that, as I always say in teaching the students, I'm at that age now where all these things start to happen. You know, you have to see the doctor and get regular appointments, and one day I'm going to be looking up, and lo and behold, one of you are going to be looking after me. And so we have to make sure that we deliver that quality of education that Dr. Monroe talked about, and we must have that commitment to give back, but not only to give back in terms of service, but I just want to re-emphasize Dr. Monroe meant to give back money. And so you got to donate to the alumni because the UWI needs it. I'm indebted to the teaching faculty, my physician colleagues who supported me during my tenure, for they are the active teaching machine producing our undergraduate and postgraduate students. They make us worthy of that phrase, the little school that could. You only have to watch us conduct our final inner clerkship exams, our final undergraduate and postgraduate exams. They turn our administrative office into an examination hall, from room to room, working diligently, invigilating, assessing, online, and on time. And I really want to commend them for this fantastic job that they do to have the outcomes that we have. We certainly pull our weight right there with all the big campuses. We have a fantastic IT team. I really want to thank Dr. Halliday, our school's IT guru, and also we have Dr. Mr. Lauren Barnaby's team. But no matter what we do, the real people that make tonight happen and that make all our exams happen, we have a big non-academic administrative team of just 3 people. Marsha, Tanya, and Didi. Okay? And we can't forget Saj, who's our honorary star. Yes, teamwork does make the dream work. But medicine is a hands-on learning experience. On behalf of all our graduates and faculty, we thank the people of the Bahamas who have allowed us to enter into their lives to gain the knowledge, skills, and competencies to achieve the honor of becoming a member of the noble profession of medical practitioners, because medicine is an apprenticeship. You need hands-on experience. And the Bahamian people are so cooperative, and I really want to say that as I preach to the students, it is an honor and a privilege to be able to enter the lives of our patients. And for that, we must always maintain their trust. But the night goes to the students, because medical school is no picnic. It's one thing to be studying hard, but it's another thing to be broke and to survive under the most impossible conditions. I just had to take one bit. I couldn't help myself. I want you to bear with me for a moment. of some words written to me by one of the students a couple of years ago when he faced the real challenges of life as he fought for his sanity and his dignity and his dream of becoming a doctor. And I read, "I'm a strong young man who overcame a lot. I know what it is to work full-time as a medical student, taking on nightly jobs as a security guard from the hours of 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., to be present at the hospital to review patients for 6:30 a.m., each day telling myself that this too shall pass. I know what it is to have a recent examination, trying to prioritize studying, yet having to work to support myself and also to pay for those recent exams. I know what it is to appear so normal on the outside, but many persons can't fathom the silent tears I cry at night. A wise man once told me that it's easy to not appreciate something as simple as breathing air until you are in the water drowning, and that air now becomes more valuable than anything else you've never imagined. Ideally, it's expected for medical students to just focus on medicine, and that may seem like a luxury for many, but for me, it is. I did my best, and I had many meetings trying to tell him, say, listen, my friend, medicine isn't for you. I even called to get him another career. Tonight, I want to thank this student for giving me one of my greatest joys as a teacher, to see this young man being robed tonight as a medical doctor. I'm reminded of the famous quote from the Talmud, "I've learned much from my teachers, more from my colleagues, but from my students, more than from them all." I want to thank all our medical graduates for the countless lessons you taught me in human perseverance and resilience. For burnout is at epidemic proportions in our profession. And then, of course, I must give kudos to our high achievers, recognizing our best overall student of the class of 2022, Dr. Angelique Smith. And Dr. Chelsea Gibson, the top performer in the MBBS examination, who gave that lovely response of her experience and going through the last 5 years. But as much as this is a student's night, it belongs also to the family and well-wishers of those in the audience tonight, you, and those listening on live streaming on YouTube. I'm sure that the gleam in your eyes will never go dim every time you think of the years of sacrifice and prayers that you have made since the day they were born. On behalf of the school, we thank you for being there for them and with us tonight. Now, don't forget, when they collect that check at the end of the month, you be there to collect yours. I would be remiss not to mention those outside family members, as we like to use the word outside in the Bahamas, in our family. They've all contributed so much to our well-being and education, and thus made tonight a very special occasion. We have the Princess Margaret Hospital family, our nurses, the Public Hospitals Authority and Administration, our public health family in the Ministry of Education. And a special thank you for our Ministry of Health institutions that allowed us to function during the pandemic. Dr. Sinclair made note of the 1948 Society, our medical alumni, who have donated some $48,000 in grants to 30 students since the applicants in 2014. And then there's the Foreman Foundation, who since 2015 donated some $212,000 in grants to some 86 student applicants. And so we really have a big family who have made a tremendous contribution for us being here tonight. I noted that we always have, and I'm pleased to see that our Cindy Dorset, who was on our big medic team for the dragon race, you know, giving those fantastic words of what it's like getting old and trying to stay young. And Dr. Monroe, and making it important that, you know, you got to remember to give back. Our Royal Bahamas Defense Force, beautiful renditions. The counselors for marketing, the hotel is beautiful, hall, and Mr. David Knowles, our photographer. And not to be undone, of course, keeping us on time and making sure we get out on time and on time, Dr. Pinder Butler, our MC. And so, I close with the words of Shakespeare from Twelfth Night, as the curtains fall on my final scene on this momentous evening. I can no other answer make, but thanks, and thanks, and ever thanks. A good evening and a good night.
Thank you, Dr. Roberts, for the vote of thanks. And that does bring us to the end of this ceremony. You have been a wonderful audience. Once again, congratulations to the graduates. At this time, we will ask that you hold your seats while we have official photographs done with the graduates and the dignitaries, as well as faculty, Dr. Sinkley. And we will invite our melodious band from the Royal Bahamas Defense Force to give us some music during this time.
Thank you.